My name is Modibo Askia. I'm a Malian musician. I come from the Segou region. More precisely, I'm from Masina. Masina is in the Segou region, so I'm from Segou. So, what kind of music do you listen to now? I listen to a lot of music. I listen to our music, especially with our music. Bamana Foli, Maninga Foli. I listen to those a lot. All the types of music that's here in Mali, I listen to it because Mali has a lot of music groups. So there's a lot of music types. There's Bamana music, flower music, Manika music, countryside music. All the different subgroups in Mali have their own type of music. So collectively, it's all Malian music, and they all borrow elements from each other's music. If you see a Bamana musician, you see him singing Bamana music. If you ask him to play Manika music, even though he doesn't know how to play it, he'll know how to play some of it. It's the same thing with Manika musicians. If they play Manika music, you ask them to play Bamana music, they won't play all of it, but they'll play some of it. So Malian music in general, there's a lot of types of groups. So you can't say Malian music is one style. You can't say that it's too much. And different styles are here too. If you say blues is here, we'll even say that blues' is origin is in Africa. Even Mali, I'll say its origin is here. Because in Mali, blues is associated a lot with the country. Ever since we were herding sheep and herding cows and going to the farm, at the end of the day, we would go to the sheds and we would use squash. We would use squash sticks and make holes in them to make flutes. Squash, you know squash? Yeah, it's underground. It's like papaya, but it's underground. We put it in sauce. It's really good. But so now the sticks, the children will put holes in them, and then when we went to herd cows, we would play the flutes, and since then is when blues began. Americans will say that blues comes from Mississippi or the North, but blues from River Branch, the lineage of blues from the River Branch where all the cows and the sheep are, blues was born there. Because if we say blues is like a music of solitude, it's a thoughtful type of music where you can think to it. So we have it here. All of the world's music can also be found in Malian music. So now I listen to American blues, but we have to pay attention to Mali now because blues originates in Mali. Yeah, it comes from here because even Ali Farka said that Americans said that blues is theirs. But if they were to come here, they would know that blues came from here. Yeah, it came from here because a lot of American blues musicians came here. I believe Ray Cooder came to Mali, all the way to Young Funke, and went and inspired himself over there and resourced himself over there and added to his knowledge because he knows that he's black and he knows that his origins are from Africa. So how did you start playing? I started playing ever since I was little, like I explained before. I was born into it. It was already in my family when I was born into it. My dad used to dance a lot. He was a big dancer on the xylophone in our Masina region, and he earned the name from himself. He didn't sing, but he danced a lot. My mom also, she could sing a lot, but she didn't make singing her career. I also have uncles who took music, like Tijan Kone. My my dad's younger brother, my uncle. He's the one that created rail band. The way rail band is formed, my uncle Tijan Kone created it like that. That's my uncle. Everyone knows him here as the one who spread his influence over Malian music. If you say Salif Keita, Tijan Kone made Salif Salif. He made rail band, rail band. Even Fela, because he came from here to Fela in Nigeria, and at that time there was no Afrobeat. High Life was there. Ghana was there. Fela was doing High Life. Tijan Kone came with Afrobeats to Nigeria and said, Fela, I'm going to improve your reputation and give you Afrobeat. All the shakaras came after that. But Afrobeat is associated with Wasolo, yeah. It's why Fela's last drummer, Tony Allen, he called Umu Sangare and they worked together. He knows. He knows that Afrobeat came from Mali, Wasolo region, even though he doesn't say it. They didn't say it in the journals, they said it was Nigeria's, but it's actually from Mali. It's not from Nigeria. Tijan Kone, my uncle, he took it there and saw that Fela was doing High Life at the time. Fela had heard real band songs. Tijan Kone, he was the leader of the band. Rail band did Afrobeats with Mori Kante, with Jelemadi Sissoko, Dugu Kamalemba, that song, that's Afrobeats. That's Mori Kante. That was all during Rail Band. Rail Band made Afrobeat. At that time, Fela didn't make Afrobeat yet, so Tijan Kone went and gave him the Afrobeat. At that time, a lot of musicians went to Mali and inspired themselves from Malian music. Even if they didn't come to Mali, they would listen to our musicians and see that's original. And they'll see that Malian music is diverse. So did you sing first or did you play guitar first or how'd that happen? I sang and played guitar first because when I was at school in Masina, I grew up with uncles who were also musicians. And my dad, he was like the teacher of the ceremony. If there was a celebration in the city, it's without a doubt that my dad would know about it. Because my dad, he had a big motorcycle. Those big motorcycles that white people have, they gave it to him. He used to do a lot of jobs, like being a mechanic, for example. He would take a motorcycle and bring musicians from the countryside and bring them to Mansina to play. My aunt, Tanti Tara Bore, was part of that. I saw her when I was little. She came to play in Masina. She would come over to my dad's place and he would help her with a lot of things. Even with their microphones and things like that, my dad would help fix them. So I started playing since that time. When entering and leaving school, some stayed and continued their education. I was also in school, but at the same time, I would teach myself how to play modern guitar. I would even use wood planks from a tree and put strings on it and make a guitar. And we made a band in our own city in Masina. And during vacations, we would put on performances, and it was very nice. It went very well. It would animate the place. But yeah, I used to use wood planks, guitars, and use motorcycle brake cables for the strings and then play it. So we made a band and we would play in front of school children and animate the place. And since then, we started to involve in music and study as well. I came from Masina and went to school in Bamako. What was the name of the band? Falistar of Masina was the band for Masina. We were their little brothers. We were school children and we formed a group, but we used to play with the older ones' materials. And then so we made our group like Fale Star Juniors. We didn't put the name on it, but we would follow the older ones. So that's how the group was made. This surprises people because the teaching styles are not the same with you guys and with us. Because with us, we go to a teacher and we pay them to teach us something. But in my own experience, since I'm not African, maybe you can tell us if you want to learn something in Africa, how do you go about doing that? There are a lot of ways to do it, but normally, how does it get done? The difference between Africa and maybe even here in Mali, Africa in general, the difference between us and the West is in the way we learn, is that we learn by ear. If it's not by ear, it's by sight. We watch it. If if it's by hand, we watch it. If it's musical audio, we learn by listening. That's why when the day comes and go, we can find an elder and they'll say, "Yeah, it's 4 o'clock." And when you look at a watch, you'll see that it is 4 o'clock, and you know that the day is going by. And he doesn't even have a watch. And you look at your watch and you say, "Wow, he doesn't have a watch, but he knows what time it is." That's an example of just sight. In white countries, you would have to look at a watch to look at what time it is. But it's almost like we walk with the day. Africans are like that naturally. So now, if you go to a mechanic, for example, and you tell them to read something, they won't write it. They'll just show them through practice. And when he's watching, he's going to register in his mind. And once it's registered in his mind, the next day when they come, they'll know what's going on. So we practice in real life without it being written. And that's great for us to learn because if you write it, maybe people don't know how to read. And it's also very complicated. We have INA here, which is the Institute of Art. And there's a lot of school children who know how to play instruments with solfege. But if you were asked people to play a certain tune or note, those who didn't go to school, they'll rush and try to find the note. But those who went to school, they'll take their time to figure out which note it actually is. That means the one that didn't go to school, they didn't learn on paper. Whatever they know they played, they tried to find that same note on their own. But the one that went to school, they're using what they've been taught. So the methods of practicing aren't the same between the two. People here prefer to practice with musical audio rather than practicing with theory. There's a lot of value with that. So you earned a lot from reggae. You came from your area and started to play in bands. How did your path go there from reggae? When I went to school in Bamako from Masina, I went to continue school. After I took the exam after ninth grade, when the exam results came out, instead of going to school for high school, I didn't go. I went to the army in the north. I didn't go to high school, but I joined the army in the north and I served for 7 years. It ended in Sikaso, but even in the army, I had a guitar. And I used to play with my friends and perform for them on the weekends. And that added on to my experience. I spent a lot of time in the north. like in Gao and etc. And then when I served my time, I left. I went to Ivory Coast. When I went there, Alpha Blondie was there and he was already successful. I joined a band over there that played in front of multiple audiences like Apollo Foley. If people wanted, we would play on Saturdays or whenever. Apollo Foley is a group band. People will take you and you play at different events like baby namings, weddings. It wasn't like a concert band. We used to play for women, for their baby namings, for birthdays, for associations by women. And there were a lot of musicians in it from Mali, Guinea, etc. Everybody had their own music style. If a Guinean singer came to sing, I would come to understand it with experience. With reggae, I would do it as well as interpret Alpha Blondie songs. One day, somebody saw me singing and talked to me afterwards and said, "You can sing, I want to help you." So he helped me, and I made my first album in Ivory Coast. At the time of the making of my album, I made a cassette. There were no CDs at the time. I made a cassette and I gave one to Alpha Blondie. And this happened in 1990. So I gave a cassette to Alpha Blondie. He listened to it, and there's a song on it called Allah Akbar. I can say with that song that Big Brother Alpha Blondie took it with him to his concert in Zenith. He interpreted the song, but he also helped me a lot with my album. It was very successful in Ivorian television. And yeah, he helped me a lot. And then after that, I became known in Ivory Coast. And so I came to Mali in 1993. I made an album in 1990 in Ivory Coast and spent 1991 and 1992 there with that success. So when I came to Mali was when there was a change in power. There was a democracy. So I stayed there. And then from Mali, I went to Paris to release an album. My friend sent someone to me in Mali from Sila Production that was in Paris. They had a representative in Bamako, Sambasa Records, and so he found me and said that the producer in France wants to produce my album, but that I'd have to go to France. And so we agreed on that, and they sent me a ticket to go to France and release the album there. So I spent 2 years there. And then when that happened, the album was also successful. The album that I released there was the seventh album of mine. So before that, a lot of people add things to the world, right? Because there's not an end to music styles. So what interests you now than before in terms of music styles? In music styles or playing? Well, because here's the thing. There's a lot of responsibilities in music playing, especially if you have a name for yourself. If you have a name for yourself, you have to portray yourself in a certain way to give an example to your fans. You become someone's reference. If your music is enjoyable, you become a reference to them. So if you're like a drug dealer or you walk around, you're just a bad person, your fans will be hurt because you're the one that has to give an example for them. But if you carry yourself well, your fans will respect you. But those fans who see that their favorite musicians always have a problem or something is always going on with them, it's gonna hurt their fans. And with that life, you're probably gonna die early and very fast. That's what happened to Whitney Houston in America, for example. She earned a lot of success, but didn't really carry herself well. If she had carried herself a little bit better with all her success, by now she'd still be alive. She was young, and she didn't die of natural causes or old age. We heard it in the news that she did drugs and all that stuff. So that's not really carrying yourself in the best way you could. So there's a responsibility with playing music. When you play music, your message has to be good so you can benefit people, not those messages that put people against each other. Because musicians build like a bridge, right? They have a message and they have to make that bridge between people and to not rip them apart. And that's really important. So that's why artists have a big role to play because the world started with art and it's also going to end with art. The creation of humans started with art and it's going to end with art too. Like when you're born, you're wrapped around in a white blanket and that's art. When we take pictures, it's all very clear that it's art. And when you die, we enclose you and bury you and that's also art. So life starts with art and ends with art. So that's why art is immense and there's no end to it. And we never finish learning it. So now there's a lot of things that happened in Mali recently. Can you tell us how Mali music playing is now? I can say that Mali and music playing is kind of mixed now. Because why? There's some kind of change that's happening. For example, the new generation hasn't brought Mali in their music. They haven't brought the cultural aspect to their music. They brought heritage from elsewhere, but it's not necessarily Malian heritage in the music. Some musicians have not fully explored Malian heritage, but want to explore other heritages. We can see that in the way they wear their clothes, to how they carry themselves, to the different music styles that they play. There's a lot of people, when you listen to their music, you can see that it's like they want to become white people. You want to be like a white person, but you know you're African. Whatever your dignity is, you portray that well too. But people won't know it and value it unless you show that. And that's really important. Cultural mixing is really good, but no one said to reject your own culture in the process because we complete each other, and that's what cultural mixing is. It comes up with a lot of things. It's like blending because, cultural mixing comes with a lot of things, as well as the factor of peace. Cultural mixing comes with that because culture brings peace. Culture is a factor of social cohesion. The world is already mixed and it's going to end in that state too. Even the future will be a blend, whether you believe it or not. The future of the world will be this blending, and culture plays a big role in it from a racial standpoint, etc. So culture will really play a big role in that. Because culture and art brings people together. Everything that resembles it supports this blending. This blend is not just the blend between black people and white people only. There's also ethnic blending, tribal mixing, a lot of ways. And art can make all that happen, which is why it's important. I'm gonna try and explain this well because we can't go backwards. Whatever happened, happened already. So we have to get forward, right? So now, can we guard that type of thing and with the more modern ones, so whatever's already there, can we add that as well onto our own? Yeah, that's it. Because if you say an artist has to make that bridge, you're a Malian artist, right? And you go to the United States, for example, you're not gonna go and play Tina Turner's music better than she can play her own music, right? If you go to the United States and you play Tina Turner's music in front of an American audience, they'll be surprised because they thought that you came to play Malian music. It's give and take, okay? You play your music, they listen to it, they're gonna like it. You listen to theirs, you take some of theirs, you they take some of yours, and that's how you complete each other. That's how cultural mixing works. That's how the world works. Americans came with theirs. You're here, you're playing some notes. I'm gonna take some from you. Even if I don't say it to you, I'm gonna take it from you. If I don't take the melody, then I'll just take it and make a song. And you're the one that played it. But it's like that, it's obvious. We complete each other. Because if you go to play Tina Turner in America, you came from Mali and went to play a concert over there and went to play Tina Turner's songs over there. You didn't give them anything. You didn't come with anything. You didn't exchange with them. What they already listened to, you went and said that you were gonna play it for them again. They wanted you to come with something different with Malian music, and yeah, it's welcome. They're gonna like it. It's like that. Okay, so now can you tell us what you're doing with Mieruba? Mieruba is a singer. He's the type of singer who isn't hidden anywhere in Mali. All of Africa has seen him. He's done a lot of tours. The band that's here in Segou, like I said, I was from. His name is Biton. It's well known. They did a lot of tours in Africa and other countries. Unfortunately, a lot of the musicians have died. May God have pity on them. There's only two people left today. And they've gotten older and more weaker, so they can't do a lot of stunts now. And unfortunately, they couldn't find anybody to succeed them so that the band doesn't fade away. Because the band has been distinguished already, and when something has been distinguished like that already, it's supposed to continue. Even if you're not there, people have to come behind you so that they continue it. The place where they marked their flags, no one else was able to come and take it. But for me, I don't know. The children were supposed to be taught some music to be able to pick up their legacy. But that didn't happen because, I don't know, it's upsetting because I really like the band and one of the elders was supposed to have successors and like put them on the right path and relaunch the band because it's well known. The band uplifted Malian music, Segou music, Bamana style. It uplifted a lot. So it has to continue. I hope that some people will come and try and relaunch it. Like me, if I could try to initiate some Biton musicians so that the band won't fade away or get lost. Because, if it gets lost, it'll get lost with Segou culture. And a lot of Malian culture can be found in Segou. That's the power that Biton has. Because Biton, when they played, it's like they knew all of Mali's subgroups' playing styles. So normally that type of band should not be lost. Because the one thing that can unify Mali should not be lost. Biton was the factor for social cohesion because there were a lot of ties represented even in the group. They created Mali. The entirety of Africa would speak about them, and their messages represented the unity of Mali, and that was very important. So, can you tell us about your first song, Baye, and tell us what it's about? I dedicated this song, Baye, to my mom. I wanted to say that death brings out resentment in people, right? So as long as you're living, as long as you are healthy, a lot of things are possible. A lot of things can happen at any time. So now if you're not even living, that's what's worse. That's why it said that death is resentment. So I sang that song for everyone because death reaches everyone. Some of everyone's parents or their people have died. But when someone dies, they can't come back to life. It's almost regrettable. It's not only humans though, it's also like the world in general. So the song means that the time we spend on this earth is limited. And in that time, everyone comes and plays their roles. When their time is there, they'll die. But everyone that dies will die with something still in them. Whatever they can't do, they will die with it within them. No one will know that secret other than that person. And that's what they mean when they say everyone dies pregnant. In Bambara, people will say pregnancy means a woman who has a baby in her. But when they said that someone dies pregnant, it doesn't mean that they die with a baby in them. It means that the projects they had in mind will stay with them because they couldn't have the opportunity to give life to those projects, and that's the beauty of Bambara. So Kedo is Manding style. The type of style that it is that it'll rave up those who are fighters. It gives heart to them. It's for those men who are courageous. Those who were in tough situations and got out, that's who this song is for. If you didn't, then you shouldn't know this song. Those who know the song, for example, God forbid a plane fell and you survived, then you can know the song. You went to war, almost everyone died. The few that survived will be able to know the song. Or a big catastrophe happened, a boat sank, a lot of people died. Those who survived, they can know the song. So it's for those courageous men, those courageous people who survive very tough situations. If you haven't experienced these situations and you know the song, you best believe that it will come to you. And we'll say that too. If you're a singer, you say that and you will believe it. The source we heard it from our dads and our elders telling us that we are the children of singers. If you play Kedo, pay attention to those who say they know it. If you know it's someone who hasn't gone through a tough situation or did something big, tell them to sit down. If they don't sit down, something tough will happen to them. It's a sacred song. So if you hear it on the radio, you'll know something big is happening.
Djama, Sebela,
Djama, Sebela.
allez, Nilatke, Yere,
Sebela is for anyone in the entirety of humanity.
DjamaKo, DjamaKo, Bella,
Humanity consists of many populations, and everyone does something to contribute to it.
Dobseka Yiritu, Dobseka Kolonsi,
Some plant trees, some dig tunnels, some build buildings, some make planes,
Dobseka, Ibiseka Fefeke,
some make motorcycles, some make guns.
Kononala,
Whatever people can do is what progresses humanity.
pas vécu inutile. C'est-à-dire, il canake bofu safouye, kanate, kata
And you contribute something in order to not be deemed unuseful. People can say, oh, this is his place, or this person made this plane, or this person made that motorcycle. Here today, there's brand names on things. Even your camera has a brand name. The name that's on it, the person behind it put in the work to make it. They brought their share to the evolution of the world. That's why DjamaKo, it said that, for example, people's clothes are nice on some, more than on others, right? If you go out in public, you'll see everyone is wearing their clothes their own way. Everyone will say that they're wearing their clothes nicely. Those on the side will say, this person's clothes are nice, but the ones that are behind are the ones that know it. You yourself, you don't know. That's why they say that you shouldn't pride yourself. If you are a good person, for example, other people will say that for you. You yourself should not say that, yes, I am a good person. What people do is what's said from behind, and that's what DjamaKo is. If you see someone now, they have nice clothes. Then you see someone else, they have no pants on and they're walking around. And if you come and you say that you're going to do that as well, someone will probably come up to you and say, no, don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. Do not level with this person. You are not the same person. You do your own thing. There's a lot of things to it. There's a lot of things to it. I'm very excited. May Allah keep us in touch. And I hope we see a lot of things like this. I hope we won't be estranged from one another. Anyone who looks at our image, our reputation, or listens to our conversations, I give them our salutations. May Allah give pity and patience to us and forgive us. Thank you.
Hey everyone, Erich from Orchestra Gold here. If you're this deep into the conversation, I have a sneaking suspicion that you're enjoying yourself. It was a labor of love putting these together. And another thing we'd love is your support. Blessings are always welcome. And if you're in a place to do monetary supports, we do have some lovely vinyl that we spent a lot of time putting together. I really think you're going to like it. It's got all the best songs that we've put out there over the last few years, including some unreleased music that you've probably never heard before. Link to that is below in the description. I wish you well, sending my very best. Take care and enjoy.